On immigration, I will direct the Department of Labor to investigate all abuses of visa programs that undercut the American worker. On ethics reform, as part of our plan to drain the swamp, we will impose a 5-year ban on executive officials becoming lobbyists after they leave the administration, and a lifetime ban on executive officials lobbying on behalf of a foreign government. These are just a few of the steps we will take to reform Washington and rebuild our middle class.
There's that video. I want to bring in pollster Lee Carter. Lee, good to see you.
Great to see you this morning.
So tell us, we were watching the lines as he was speaking. What did people think about this?
So you can see the red line, Republicans, yellow line, independents, and blue line there is Democrats. And what we're seeing right now, and I'm really encouraged by this, is not only are Republicans and independents responding to Donald Trump's message, but we're seeing Democrats come around too. Even they gave him a C here. And that's something we haven't seen in a while. And there was one participant who said it best, and I'm just going to read what he said. He said, "Well, I do not care for him personally. I believe he is going to shake up Washington, who does not represent the people anymore." And I think that we're seeing that there's a really big shift here, and people, the drain the swamp message is resonating. And I think we're seeing even people who might not ordinarily have supported him are coming around and listening to his message now.
Yeah, and you know what? I could imagine that we're going to see more of this. If he cannot rely on the media to tell and communicate his story, he's going to do YouTube videos. That's what we're going to get for the next 4 years, I guarantee you.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that he is savvy with the media, but he's savvy with the people. And a lot of people that we've been talking to throughout the whole election says, he's representing me. He's on my side. And we're seeing right now in Pew Research even saying that the media is less trusted than government right now. And I think he's finding his own way to communicate with the people, and it's working.
Now, I want to get the panel in for a second, but let me ask you this, because President Obama also spoke about Trump on his last foreign tour as sitting president. Let's watch how people responded to that. Do we have that?
If there are issues that have less to do with the specifics of some legislative proposal or battle, if I think that it's necessary or helpful for me to defend those ideals, then I'll examine it when it comes.
It looks like even the Democrats got impacted there, Lee. How would you characterize what just happened?
So what I would say is it's, you know, Obama's very popular for our sitting president. But even in this moment, what people said to me is that they're a little bit saying, I appreciate his principled approach to this, but what I'm concerned about is he going to be too involved? Maybe he should take the George W. Bush approach and just step to the side and let the next president do his job. Even one Democrat said that during the session. And so I'm really, you know, I think that we've got to be really careful about moving forward. And, you know, Obama is setting the precedent. He is saying we are either going to come together or we're going to, or not. And he's, in many ways, he's saying here, I'm not even sure I'm going to give him a chance. And that's contrary to the message he gave last week. And I think a lot of voters right now are saying, I'm not so sure that I want you to stay involved.
Yeah, nobody likes a fifth-year senior that still goes to all the parties, no matter how cool they were during the first senior year.
It's a good analogy.
Well put, Kat.
So, Lee, you know, the Democrats are giving C grades to what Trump said on YouTube. What does he need to get that grade up? Is this a matter of he's not our guy, or are there certain issues or topics like, say, civil rights or things like that that they're worried about that he may need to pay more service to?
A good question.
What is it?
You know, I'm not sure that we're going to see Donald Trump get much higher than a C with Democrats. I'm encouraged because we haven't seen him get that high pretty much ever. So I think that people are listening to him right now. I think the drain the swamp message is one that's resonating. I think he is going to have to, if he really wants to start moving the needle forward, I think people are looking for him to take a stronger stand than he has so far on some of the rising hate crimes or some of the other things. We're going to want to hear more about civil rights. I think the way that Mike Pence responded to the Hamilton, I don't want to call it a protest, but the Hamilton message was exactly what people want to hear. They want to see that the president is listening and that he's willing to take people's perspective who don't necessarily agree with him seriously. So I think that will go a long way. But we're seeing Donald Trump be much more measured, much more disciplined outside of some of his Twitter rants that we've seen recently. When he's speaking, he's very soothing, he's very calm, he's on message, and I think that's going to go a long way to getting people more comfortable with Donald Trump, the president.
Lee, but Donald Trump and Kellyanne Conway tipped the hat to this earlier yesterday, dropping the threat of new Hillary Clinton investigations. And to his most ardent supporters, he's talking to Mitt Romney to run the State Department. He says, we're not going to pursue charges against Hillary Clinton. And to the people who were shouting, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up over and over and over again, what is he doing for them, the people who elected him?
You know, I think that's a really interesting point to see what are the supporters going to do. So far, the supporters are willing to give him a pass on some of these things. He has made that announcement about Hillary Clinton, and I think people are pretty much, so far what I've seen is that they're okay with it. I think that he's going to have to do things that are going to indicate that he is draining the swamp. But on the other hand, there are people saying, you know what, I like the fact that Donald Trump is willing to reach across to people who don't agree with him, to make deals, to compromise. I think some people would even say that they'd like to see him reaching out to more Democrats even. But I think that what we're looking at is somebody that's totally unexpected and different than anybody would have anticipated the next president to be, and I think that's resonating.
You're right. Let me ask you this, Lee. Another TV moment that people were talking about this week was model Gigi Hadid's impression of Melania Trump at the American Music Awards. First, let's watch this. Got to get your take on this.
Yeah.
This is my Melania Trump impression. Okay, I got to get the face right.
Okay.
I love my husband, President Barack Obama, and our children, Sacha and Malia.
Now, she later apologized for that impression on Twitter.
Yeah.
She said it was done in good humor and with no bad intent. What did the focus group think, Lee?
I don't think that the focus group agreed that it was not meant to be malicious. I think that you can see even the Democrats didn't respond that well to that moment. Generally speaking, the first lady is off limits, and that's just not the way this came off. It didn't seem like it was humor with love in any way.
No.
It was pretty mean-spirited, and people took it that way.
I think it was totally mean-spirited.
The model is not a comedian.
Who is Gigi Hadid?
Also, it was not even a good accent.
Who are you to make fun of someone else?
Really poor impersonation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was inappropriate and poor quality.
It was horrible.
It wasn't. It has to be. If you're going to go for humor, it has to be funny.
Yeah, there's no.
She's not a comedian. If it had been somebody from SNL, maybe they could have gotten away with it.
Like, who are you to make fun of Melania Trump?
Yeah.
Gigi Hadid.
Where's the punchline?
Right. Joke.
Yeah, I don't get it. And what has Melania done to you? I think it's completely unfortunate.
Yep.
And I think what we are also seeing right now in this election was people are tired of the establishment, and that's starting to include Hollywood. Hollywood is seeming more and more out of touch. I think people used to idolize Hollywood and say that's what I want to be someday. But clearly, the general population is not following suit with Hollywood, and they're starting to feel a little bit out of touch, and we're seeing that in this kind of a skit.
Yeah, you got Robert De Niro saying he's going to punch out Donald Trump.
Who was at the White House yesterday. I mean, President Obama rolled out all the celebs who are big Democrats yesterday.
He did.
Handing out those Medal of Freedom honors, which is great, but again, it was a love fest of the liberals.
Well, not for most people. Lee just said it. People are over Hollywood. I mean, Lee Carter, good to see you. Always a pleasure.
Great to see
Thank you so much, Lee.